Hey guys, it's Muffin, and welcome to the For Fun patch of set 6.5. Today I wanted to go over a Senna comp that I've actually been playing pretty consistently. I know that there's like a Lulu for Enchanter comp that's out there where you play like 3 Redemption and you just cluster everyone together. I hate that comp. I've had no success with it, and especially because Mortdog just fixed a patch or a problem that was with it. He said something about it on Twitter where it would give you extra damage mitigation for having multiple Redemptions. That's gone, so I already think that it's weaker than it is supposed to be, or weaker than it was, so it's a little less viable. This is a comp that I think is way more stable, which is 5 Innovator Senna, not reroll. You only need a Senna 2, and then you can just casually level up to 9. Someone actually came into my streams recently and mentioned me doing these voiceovers of games and asked me to keep doing them, and I really like them. So if you like them too, please consider hitting that like button below, and I'll do more. I'll do more. I really enjoy these. I don't know. Sometimes I think that people don't like them. So if you hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it just to let me know. And yeah, let's hop into the game. So on first carousel, we end up going for a sword. I've been starting sword start. Our ideal items for Senna are Last Whisper, Infinity Edge, and Giant Slayer. That's 2 swords, 2 bows, and 2 gloves. I just think that sword is a little bit stronger early game. You can take an Ezreal who has like 40 attack damage and then instantly go up 20%, whereas a bow makes him attack a little bit faster. We do pull a bow off of our first set of minions, but I do like to start sword a little bit earlier on. And ideally, we're going to be throwing in Innovator a little earlier. Some of your first units are going to be Zillion, Singed, and Ezreal, so that's your first 3 Innovator. And so I also grabbed this Camille pair because Camille can get us Clockwork and have us a little bit of frontline in the early game. As well as, depending what pops out of this 3 egg, we may get like a Clockwork Spatula, which we can then maybe go 4 Clockwork later in the game. So I just grabbed this Camille. Should I do Camera? I think I'm going to do Camera. And for our first augment, we've got Cutthroat, Arcanist, and Disintegrator. There's only one assassin in our comp, that's Echoes, and we have no Arcanist, so it's instantly Disintegrator. It's not super great, but it's better than anything else we have. Now, we are going to use this Lucian as an item carry, since there's no real great item carry. We don't want to throw all our items on Ezreal, because then we're probably going to have to stick around for an Ezreal too, as well as we might want to grab an extra Ezreal in order so that we can throw him in later. We just don't have to deal with that if we just itemize ourselves a Lucian, especially because our late game carry isn't going to be an Innovator in the first place, so we already can just use anyone who's not an Innovator as our carry. Gnar, I think, would be ideal. He's a striker. He just does a lot of physical damage and holds items that are good for Senna very well. At 4-1, I do make the decision to pre-level. This is because the only 1 cost we really care about are Ezreal and Singed, and they're not that important. They just need to be there for the trait. Whereas any 2 cost, 3 cost would be instantly like great for our comp. If we could have gotten an early Zillion, which has greater odds at level 4, or if we could get maybe like an Echo, that would be a great hit. As well as we do want our Senna just as soon as possible, because Senna is a pretty desirable champion right now, so Senna would have also been something that we were trying to get with this pre-level. Now, we don't win our second fight, and we don't really need like a win streak super hardcore throughout this early stages. I think the most thing is just not losing too much health, because health, I say, is more important to getting to level 9 than even like a super strong early econ. I do decide to put in this Nocturne instead of Ziggs, so that I'm able to make my 10 econ breakpoint without having to sell an Innovator like Singed. I want to hold on to him as much as possible so I can get him 2-star, as well as this Nocturne does give us Hex Tech for our Lucian, so it's just a little bit of extra damage and shielding on those 2 units, and none of our damage really would be coming from Ziggs. He's not too strong, especially without Arcanist in, so I wasn't too worried about it. Now, we are going to be second pick on the carousel. We already have a sword and a bow. I think ideally what's most important is getting Last Whisper, but there was already a glove grab, so we grab ourselves a second bow. We already have a sword. We can slam a Giant Slayer, which is a fine early item, and it does do well on Lucian, and then we can throw on our second bow on him as well, so that we just have the full usage of our 3 item components so far. We do natural a Zillion, which is going to be able to get us in Clockwork. Not quite 3 Innovator yet, but we also have a Sejuani in our shop, which is going to be a better front line than this Nocturne, so we still get Hex Tech, and now we have Clockwork as well, and we level up to 5 in order to fit it all in. And ideally, as long as you're getting to Krugs with about like 20 to 30 gold, you don't really have to stress about how much money you spend, I don't think, as long as you're spending it in ways that are going to help you in the future. And by that, I mean like leveling or actually getting good units. If you're just rolling and you're not hitting anything, then yeah, that money's not spent well. But if it's in leveling, I think that has infinitely more value because you don't lose it. It's not wasted. We do natural ourselves a Senna here on 2-6, and that's partly because we leveled to 5 and we just have better odds. And we can just move the items over. Nothing was holding us to this Lucian, as well as Senna gives us some healing, and we keep our 20 econ point, so we don't have to worry about not having enough money. And we get a socialite spot, so we're able to make Singed a little bit stronger, but he's not really useful in the first place. We do get unlucky with the placements here and this Nocturne who instantly kills our Senna. Are our guys able to kill this actually? We might be able to win this anyways. Yeah, we do. I think actually maybe even because of the Singed placement, but Camille's also just such a good tank and does a little bit of damage. And here at Krugs, we're able to natural both an Ezreal and an Echo, so that's going to give us our 3 Innovator. And using the bug as frontline kind of is good, so we don't have to worry too much about throwing out this Sejuani. And we could just honestly sell all this other trash that we didn't need in the first place. I hold on to a Lulu here for a second. I don't think you need to hold on to Lulu at all, but we also get ourselves a glove. The only thing we can do with this last bow is Last Whisper, so I instantly slam it. And I do think Last Whisper is more important than Infinity Edge, just because Last Whisper increases how much damage your entire team does with their auto attacks, not just the character that you have the Infinity Edge on. And here we actually decide to crack our tome, and we do get lucky with an instant Innovator pull, so we're able to level up to 6 and get in 5 Innovator at stage 3-1. This is pretty good. This is a lot more likely to happen to you pretty consistently if you're because of the dragon eggs, especially if you have like a 3 dragon egg. You can pretty easily get 5 Innovator this early. However, if you aren't able to get an Innovator emblem, good replacements for it are, I'd say, probably Clockwork. Then you can go 4 Clockwork, and you can have Jhin as your secondary carry at 9, because you'll have Zillion, Jhin, and Orianna. And the attack speed is just going to help everyone on your team, including increasing how strong Jhin is, so he doesn't really need too many items on him either. He won't be super item dependent. So Clockwork is a good secondary spatula. Anyone else would probably maybe be 2 Socialite if the Socialite's in a good spotlight, if you know already. Maybe Scrap, and then when you go level 9 or whenever you get Jace, you can just replace the Ezreal instead of placing the Singed, but that's up to you. Depends on if you want to backline Jace or if you want to keep him. He's normally frontline. We do lose to this Tryndamere. I think there's 2 Tryndamere players in the game so far, and we lose to both of them pretty consistently. And for our second augment, I used to be a real thrill of the hunt guy, or even weak spot, but we've already got so much reduction because Last Whisper hits everyone pretty much on the board. Senna just hits so many targets with it. So makeshift armor, especially going level 9, we're gonna have so many units that just do not have items on them. Even right now, it's on Zillion, Ezreal, and our Singed, as well as our Bear. So I think that makeshift armor gets a lot of usage out of Innovators, more so than like weak spot, because most of our damage is still coming from our Last Whisper. So throughout stage 3, we're kind of saying stable. We don't have too great chances on our Senna, so we're kind of gonna take whatever gains or losses we can get here. I think the main thing is just like we keep our interest as high as possible, because we're not taking too much damage. If you're not losing a whole lot, then it's fine. Also, everyone on the bottom half of this leaderboard seems to be 50 or below, and we're at 86, so we are nowhere close to being in danger, I don't think. So we're not really going to stress about rolling for units until level 7. Now in third carousel, there is a sword on an Echo here that we could use for Infinity Edge, though I go for this Ezreal with a glove, and that's because while the glove itself isn't super great, if we grab this Echo, it would actually make our Echo 3 or our Echo 2, and the sword would merge with the rod, and we get a Hextech Gunblade, which is not good in this comp at all. So I do have to forego that Echo there, unfortunately. It was just on a bad unit. I don't think there's a super great third item for Senna if you already have the Giant Slayer. I think you can do like Deathblade instead of Giant Slayer if you already have IE and Last Whisper, or maybe you could go for a different type of damage item. But even if we aren't able to get like a sword off of Wolves here, we'll probably actually lose streak in stage 4 in order to try and get a sword and get Infinity Edge. I think that that's just better for itemization. And right before Wolves, we actually do cash out this guy on a pretty big loss streak at 3-6. I think he hasn't won a single round. He did go all in with his econ, and I think he has 5 mercenaries, so he was able to cash out and he got a huge payout, and he actually becomes like the scariest person in the lobby. he becomes so scary. But we do get the Senna 2, which if you guys have been watching my streams, I've kind of had a curse where I can't land Senna 2. I don't know why. I'll get it eventually, but only after rolling like 70 gold even at level 8. But we do natural it here at level 6, which seems a bit early. And off of Wolves, we do get a sword as well, so we have a perfectly itemized Senna. It's cool that she doesn't need a Bloodthirster just because she already does natural healing. And now we're going to invest the rest of our money pretty much into leveling. Everything other than this Senna 2 is pretty much just a trait bot, and we even level up here to 7 to throw in Lulu to get into Enchanter, just because 2 Enchanter instantly gives all of us magic resistance and increases Senna's healing ability. You also do not need to go Senna 3. Senna 3 is not as valuable as going level 9 and getting in the Innovator Dragon and maybe 3 Enchanter or 4 Enchanter. It's cool to see the gold unit, but it's not necessary. It gives her like a 1.8 multiplier on her attack damage, and that's it. We do lose to the Tryndamere Challenger comp comp again, mostly because they have an Orianna already. Orianna's kind of broken right now. Not as like the main carry, but just being in a comp, she's just really good because she can spam her ability now. So here on 4th carousel, we're not even worried about items, we just want Orianna. She's also just better than Lulu. This will allow us to take out Camille and throw in a 3rd enchanter, which, like I said, just makes Senna better every time we do so. Tank items on Morgana, and we also get a Morello Nomicon on our Echo. Now, Morello did get nerfed, but it only got nerfed in that it doesn't do as much damage as it used to do. It still is a great anti-heal item. I think a lot of people get baited when they hear that an item got nerfed to the ground, that it's not good anymore, and you should never make it. It's still great as far as it mitigates how much healing people are due, so maybe other people are able to run running an Enchanter comp. It's still great for this. And you can see we're still really strong. Most of this is because we got super great items really quickly for our Senna, as well as we were able to get 5 Innovator really early, so that was just really lucky. But this is basically what you're trying to do, and you can stabilize at 7. For 3rd augment, instantly Innovator Heart. Why would you even think about anything else? Because now we have Dragon. You still can get Dragon if you did get your early tome to be an Innovator, but if you weren't lucky with that, this would now let you go 7. But assuming that, you know, we didn't get Innovator Heart here, we'd still be able to go level 9 and get Innovator Dragon. The main thing is that we just wouldn't be able to go 4 Enchanter. 3 Enchanter is actually the main comp, but we do go 4 Enchanter in this game just because it gives us more shielding and more healing. And we're only able to do that because of how healthy we are throughout the game. We didn't focus too much on our stage 1 and staying low level in order to stabilize there. We stabilized at level 6 actually. And now Innovator Dragon is going to do a stun on everyone. Note that it's important to keep Innovator Dragon right in the middle in the front, just because then he'll do his stun on the entire board. If he's not placed in the front, especially if your enemy doesn't put him in the front, in the center, he does not stun the entire board, and you can put your carry in like the bottom left or bottom right, depending on where their dragon is, and they will not get stunned. And especially if it's like a Jinx or just like any really strong unit, like even a Jhin, they can still super mess up the enemy team. So yeah, just unless there's a reason not to, like maybe it's an assassin comp, you can always put your dragon frontline center. Now off of chickens, we do get a spatula and a glove and a cloak. That only gives us mutant spat or assassin spat. We do have an echo and there's no natural mutant integration, so instantly I'm taking assassin spat on our Jace. Why? Because right now, kind of our main tanks are Morgana and our Dragon, but once they die, we don't want them looking forward towards our Senna. So what I want to do is make an assassin frontline Jace, so he jumps back, and whenever Morgana and the Dragon die, they turn around and face our Jace and not our frontline, especially with a comp like this where they have someone like an Ahri who just has a way far enough range to even attack our backline, even if they're not targeting them. We're mostly stabilized here, even though we have a Morgana one and a Singed one as our front line, so we still actually most of our comp is 1 star. We're super healthy. The rest of the lobby is kind of not so much. We're in 2nd place at 55 health, so we're gonna save up our money and just go level 9. I think we even beat this Tryndamere player who's been killing us literally the entire game because we have so much healing going on and the stun from our dragon. Yeah, Tryndamere's gone and they all die. So when you're winning against like the person in first and the person in last, it's kind of safe to say that you're strong enough to kind of stay stable, even if you like maybe lose 1 or 2 combats along the way. We are, however, scared really high. This is the Mercs player that we cashed out. This is scary because he's already got a Victor 2 and a Kaisa 2 and a Tom Kench and a Renato with Morello Nomicon. And he's actually not that close to dead. He's got 2 or 3 losses before he's gonna die. This is scary to us, but I think everyone else we're not scared at all, really. Just because we do have room to grow, and that room for growth is another enchanter, which gives us even more magic resist and healing on all of our units. On 5th carousel, there is a Jace with a Giant Slayer, which would be a great unit / item, but it gets taken instantly. I think Locket would have been really good because Locket does get benefit for being on an enchanter, but we end up grabbing a rapid fire cannon, and I'm thinking I'm just gonna put it on Singed and the assassin spat on Singed, considering that's who I'm going to replace with Jace anyways. And I also scrapped this cloak on our Echo because at least he's 2-star compared to our Ezreal, who is not. We do lose to the 6th striker comp. It's their Ghost and we still have 50 gold. We are at 30 health, which is not great. We're not 1 loss away from death. We can take 1 more loss and still be fine. We can wait until after Dragon to level up, which will just save us a little little bit of money. But yeah, I do decide to itemize this Singed just for a little bit of power, the slightest amount, hoping it does literally anything. Still a Singed one, still an Ezreal one, and still a Zillion one. Now it's a Zillion too. But the fact that we have so many 1-stars to me is just proof of how strong this comp is for no reason. Senna's such a good carry and can even just like help guarantee like a 3rd or a 4th if you get her 2-star with some proper items. Off of Dragon, we get a Sunfire Cape. We already have Morello's, but I decided to throw it on Morgana just so we don't have to worry about losing any of our makeshift armor value. And here I'm just rolling down looking for a Jace. I find it and I'm able to throw in it over our Singed. I think, yeah, I frontline it instead of backline. Backline would probably do more damage as an assassin, but we're not really worried about damage with him. His entire purpose is when our frontline dies, they retarget him instead of attacking our Senna. And for the most part, he does that pretty well. And we knock ourselves into the top 3. And we see that the Mercs player has actually lost because he was at like 30 health and now he's at 16. So he's not unkillable. We also got in a Lulu 2 somewhere in there while we were leveling up to 9. And so now we have 4 Enchanter, which gives us extra 80 magic resist, which is going to help us against both Kai'Sa and Victor. There's a lot of magic power in the set right now, so I think magic resistance is so great, and having 4 Enchanter in is better than, I don't know what we would really put in over Lulu. Maybe just any legendary unit would have some potential, but there's not really quite any of them that super fit. Normally, if you didn't get the augment, then you would just have 7 Innovator and you wouldn't really have to worry about what your 9th unit was. It's Jace. We see that nobody has any Blitzcranks left in the lobby, so we're able to corner our Senna. We don't really have to stress about that too much. However, I do decide to throw her way over onto the left side of the board and do some positioning in the front line so that Jace gets targeted by this Zephyr. This is kind of why scouting is important, because I realized this Zephyr was here. We need our dragon to cast. So if they Zephyr our dragon and then they kill the rest of our front line and then our dragon just gets bursted down before he's able to cast his ability, yeah, no, we're screwed. We're going to lose. And now I see here, actually in this combat, we actually kill their Kai'Sa. The rest of the team, you know, is able to finish us off, but we are able to kill the Kai'Sa, who I was most scared of. Victor's also a little scary, but the Kai'Sa's the biggest deal. And establishes that our positioning, having us over on the left, is actually going to help us kill that unit in the first place. On 6 carousel, I decide that probably what will help us the most is getting ourselves a little bit higher attack speed so we can burst down that Kai'Sa in that front line a little bit faster, so that maybe she's able to cast one less time, as well as I decide to put it on our backline Jace so I can do a little bit more damage. Kai'Sa attacks the entire board evenly, so does Victor, so we're not super stressed about if they turn around anymore. That was for like an Ahri maybe, or like a Jhin, as well as the Kai'Sa's going to cast her ability the first time and move from over here to over here on the board, so having Jace kind of over here in this corner is already going to help us a little bit. And you can see here I'm still scouting him, and he still thinks I'm putting this dragon right front and center, and I wait till the last second to move it. I'm gonna throw this freaking Ezreal, who sucks, who does nothing, and I'm gonna throw him right next to where the dragon is. I kind of mess around with where our Senna is a little bit just to make him confused and not be able to get our Senna, but you can see I am able to get our dragon to safety and not have to worry about getting Zephyr. And you can see that that bonus attack speed, I don't know exactly what made us win. Maybe we just got an extra cast or 2 off of a Senna, but that extra attack speed, as well as making sure that it's not our Jace that's getting Zephyr, it's our Ezreal, do get us the victory, and we beat a Mercs player. Which is always feels good because Mercs is too crazy. Anyways, that's how I play Senna. If you like this video and it helps you at all, please consider hitting the like button, maybe subscribe. I'm going to go ham when set 7 comes out. So much content. I really want to help you guys. I'm trying to go #1 in North America in set 7, as well as try and go to Worlds. So that's my goal, and I hope you guys are there to do it with me. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I've been Muffin. You guys have been amazing, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.